Our modern infrastructure relies on a highly complex, tightly wound system to function, but that system is incredibly fragile. Projections indicate a specific 18-month window where external pressures could cause this entire mechanism to seize and break apart. This cosmic clock maps celestial events. Starting with a trigger alignment in April 2026, the timeline tracks systemic shocks leading to September 2027. The critical bottleneck occurs that summer, a dense 30-day window where a rare triple eclipse aligns with peak institutional instability. This graphic shows the culminating event. On August 2nd, the longest total solar eclipse of the 21st century, the King of Terror, will occur. Its path of totality plunges a massive corridor across Europe and the Middle East into daytime darkness. The celestial alignment acts as a macro trigger. It initiates a cascading chain reaction of extreme geophysical disturbances on Earth, beginning with the physical destruction of global infrastructure. The predicted fallout begins underground. Geologic models linked to this timeline forecast extreme seismic activity, severe earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic anomalies striking highly developed regions. The physical destruction of the grid severs the European states' ability to maintain logistics, resulting in a total cutoff of food, water, and supply chains. With governments paralyzed, millions of displaced people face immediate starvation. This pressure sparks localized civil wars inside major urban centers. The complete collapse of these logistical networks means evacuation becomes impossible. Millions are suddenly trapped in high-density, localized starvation zones with no external lifeline. Historically, when a population faces inescapable environmental deprivation, the physical body compensates for the lack of resources. The crisis moves from the infrastructure into the realm of biological adaptation. In the natural world, survival mechanisms are brutal and efficient. When a species faces an extreme environmental crisis, biological resources are reallocated. Nature actively deprioritizes traditional male roles to protect and prioritize female reproductive capacity. This is visible in reptiles through temperature-dependent sex determination. In species like turtles, the nest's baseline temperature overrides underlying genetics to determine sex. This thermometer graphic charts exactly how sensitive that mechanism is. An increase of just 1.85 degrees Celsius in the nesting sand forces painted turtle populations into 100% feminization, deleting the male role from the generation. Combine extreme heat waves with synthetic chemical exposure, and the effect amplifies. In the central bearded dragon, thermal stress induces genetic males to undergo a thermosensitive gene splicing, physically transforming them into reproductive females that adopt hyper-aggressive behaviors. Biological sex is not a static guarantee. It is a malleable trait that nature will rewrite under the stress of environmental collapse. The records of human history suggest that we are not immune to these shifts. When populations face extreme physical trauma and resource depletion, they exhibit similar large-scale behavioral adaptations. This chart details past adaptations to extreme depletion. In the 5th century BC, the intense physical toll of nomadic equestrian warfare caused widespread vascular impotence among elite Scythian warriors. These men shed their male roles, adopting female societal duties to maintain utility. In 18th century West Africa, the endless warfare of the slave trade severely depleted the male population of the Dahomey state. In response, the society weaponized its women, forming the Agoji, an elite all-female military regiment trained in extreme insensitivity to replace the lost male defense force. Following the trauma and starvation of World War I, Weimar Germany experienced an immediate surge in gender fluidity and a society-wide rejection of traditional masculinity. This 14-year experiment in identity dissolution was a systemic reaction to the collapse of the traditional patriarchal military structure. These human examples mirror animal populations, triggering radical gender inversions as a collective survival response to catastrophic societal trauma. The 2027 forecast anticipates this pattern repeating through the activation of a behavioral sink. The combination of ecological disaster and chemical toxicity is predicted to induce a systemic collapse of traditional gender roles. This diagram visualizes the resulting psychological split. Overwhelmed by eco-anxiety, men completely withdraw into digital escapism, becoming the beautiful ones. Left vulnerable by this withdrawal, female biology forcefully adapts into the Medea complex, a resurgence of the warrior mindset and hypermasculinity to ensure survival. The data in these models correlate such climate crises with massive spikes in gender-based violence, intimate partner homicides, and the rapid breakdown of maternal bonds. The 2027 Cascade ends by dismantling the biological and psychological bond between human sexes. Zooming out from this internal collapse, the geopolitical map shifts. A society paralyzed by an internal behavioral sink leaves behind a massive global power vacuum. While the West is consumed by internal friction, disciplined Eastern powers, maintaining a highly structured military hegemony, awaken to claim dominance over the fractured remnants. This graphic shows how that dominance is established. They utilize salami-slicing warfare, claiming a trade route, assuming a port, and finally annexing territory to incrementally suffocate the old Western order without triggering nuclear annihilation. A society suffering from internal biological and psychological collapse is incapable of mounting a defense against a highly structured external systemic takeover. The collapse of the old infrastructure forces every survivor into a corner. When the dust settles on the 2027 Cascade, humanity will face a bifurcation, forcing a choice between two entirely divergent societal paths. This table outlines the division. The first option is the path of Rahu. It represents survival through extreme geopolitical discipline, artificial intelligence, and absolute technological control. The opposing option is the path of Jupiter. This path requires a total rejection of material excess in favor of ecological harmony and spiritual restructuring. The collapse forces a side to be chosen. Those who awaken their inner guru element may survive the illusion, while the rest are consumed by the technological dominance of the new order. Whether you accept the specific celestial timeline of 2027 or not, the underlying mechanisms of this breakdown are measurable. Resource starvation, chemical toxicity, and the resulting biological adaptations in human behavior are active today.